The thing oibuzayo ukuthi you're cynical of having a grassroots movement and being a revolutionary. And you've seen many artists or people get burned by that.
I've been burnt many times.
Okay. I wonder if it was not your approach.
I'm the problem.
I'm not saying you are the problem.
There's nothing wrong with saying that as well.
Your approach is the problem.
Yeah.
Right? There's a huge difference. It's not a problem, it's a huge difference, right? There's a difference between you being the problem and your approach being the problem. I'll there's a few things I could use to make the example. Lauryn Hill, using Lauryn Hill as an example, you can call out Lauryn Hill as someone who did things different, who, decided to go against the man, etc., etc. But Lauryn Hill has some things that made people turn on her. That also has to be acknowledged. Like Lauryn Hill is quite a diva, right? This is something that many podcasts, people who've literally worked with her, who know her personally, know about her. Even
she's difficult to work with.
Very difficult to work. Even in the last track that she did with Nas, she mentions Uguti. People are complaining about the time that I arrive at, but they don't know Uguti. Can't remember her exact line. But her point is, I have a greater calling. You shouldn't be worried about what time I'm arriving at a show. I paid for you to be here. You know that I waited here just to watch you perform. So my point in using Lauryn Hill is
that I'm Lauryn Hill. I receive. I am El Boogie.
What I'm saying is there are times where you do need to look at your approach. Why ngisho njalo, and why am I so confident that that's what we should be doing? There are successful grassroots organizations and companies that exist and are doing incredible work. We could not... I mean, dude, EVLC is on so many laptops. It's ridiculous, right? Why has what other platforms even Microsoft itself? Why couldn't Microsoft win the VLC war? The video streaming. I mean, they could have easily pushed EVLC out. They have billions. There's many.
The people that were fighting for VLC are now comfortable, successful. Their families are good.
Now,
I'm asking.
Oh, you mean the people that are building it in the background?
The revolutionaries, the guys who are swimming against the tide, and like, we're gonna be the guys that push podcasting into the future, but we don't mind suffering for it.
That's a fairly good question. I mean, let me put it this way. They didn't attack the beast, so to speak, in a way that if they built and succeeded in VLC, it would leave them in a ditch. Their approach was different, right? You see, their approach was different and quite subtle, and to a certain degree, they cooperated with the corporates, with the big guys that would have otherwise pushed them out. And by the time, I mean, dude, it's quite interesting because as we're speaking, I'm thinking of how Google itself was the outcast, the one fighting against the juggernauts in the beginning. Apple was one of the ones fighting against the juggernauts when they were fighting against the IBM. They were the grassroots movement. They were the ones trying to do things differently, right? Hence, I think Apple was Think Different, was Steve Jobs' thing. Right. So they, once upon a time, they were that. And then they became successful and became what we're fighting against. Well, I say we, but what we're now turned off by, the point being. So for me, I would propose to you, as far as the content creation platform and side of things, as is with anything, it's yazi fananane, how many businesses fail?
Most.
Right? Exactly. And yet you're still trying to do business. The logic of, because I tried it in the past and got burned and therefore I won't do it anymore, that logic doesn't add up. Because business, like people, I did business back in high school. I did commerce in varsity, and even now, as I'm growing up, I'm centered around marketing. I work around a lot of businesses as well. Every time I hear I'm a business, how many times I've heard women say business? You know what I mean? And yet here you are, still trying to build a business. So why can't you use the very same mentality in your approach to the content creation industry as a whole? Because it has challenges, just like building a business has challenges.